This is the Items Report.
Hi, welcome to tonight's episode of the Items Report. I am Christian Perez, along with Brian Powers. How you doing tonight, Brian? Can you hear me all right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing okay, man. As usual, having a little bit of a sluggish internet, but I'm hoping I can keep up with the show tonight.
I think it's the man trying to keep us from having our awesome show, Brian. That's what it is. So there is someone missing right now. If you're watching the show live, we are running a little bit late, but Daryl has said that he is on his way. He is running late. We do have an interesting show tonight. We want to talk about Kyle Rittenhouse and his trial. Also, today is Election Day, and we're looking at some pretty important elections for the New Jersey gubernatorial race, the Virginia gubernatorial race, as well as the New York City mayoral race. So those are three of the big races going on now. And hopefully, if we have some time, we can get to them all and talk about it. Let's see. Brian, how you doing? Can you hear me? Is everything cool? Is it a little bit better now?
The elections part of the conversation is something, that'll be interesting to me, but I've shied away from electoral politics as much as possible. Even when I was involved in party politics, I didn't really like it. But the thing, I guess, before we get to all that bourgeois democracy and that stuff, and Daryl will be joining us very shortly, I think, as you said. So don't worry, Idavox fans, hang in there.
Yeah,
Daryl's on
coming
his way. He was participating in said bourgeois democracy. So anyway, he'll get into that later. But the thing that I've noticed in the news that I think we got to talk about here, being that this is the Idavox Report, home of anti-fascist podcasting, is the Kyle Rittenhouse trial that's been going on.
Yeah,
started the last couple of weeks, and I know that you've been reading up on it, and I've been following the news. I got my own feelings on what's going on. But I think maybe you can take us through like the current events. I know that you have a few notes on what's going on here with this guy. I guess he's now about 18 or 19 years old.
He's 18 years old now. He was 17 years old when he committed when he killed two people. He killed one guy by the name of Joseph Rosenbaum, who was 36, and he killed another guy who was 26, a guy by the name of Anthony Huber, and he injured a third person by the name of Gage Grosskreutz. So I mean, in a nutshell, there was a police shooting. The police shot a unarmed black man by the name of I want to say it was Jacob Blake.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the Jacob Blake shooting. And for those of us that don't remember, Jacob Blake was the guy. He had a scuffle with the police. I don't know why they weren't really watching him. He had gone into his car to go get some paperwork. The police claimed that he was reaching for a gun, and then they shot him. They shot him about 7 times in the back, and he has been paralyzed. So why is this relevant to Kyle Rittenhouse? Because there was a number of riots, rallies, and protests in defense of Jacob Blake. It was the summer of 2020, and I'm sure everyone remembers the past year and a half, and what it's been. And this kid, Kyle, he was a kid when he did it. Kyle Rittenhouse, 17 years old, gets his gun and with his mom crosses state lines, having this gun illegally. And he went there on, this misinformed idea, this conspiracy theory that somehow, it's the same white supremacist myth we see over and over again, just roving gangs of black people, trying to loot, trying to destroy. It's never, it's the same people that want to talk about freedom. They want to talk about government oppression, but these are the same people that always show up, Kyle Rittenhouse being one of the same people that always shows up on the side of power, on the side of status quo. And I don't know why a 17-year-old boy thinks that a professional police department needed his help. Right. Well, I don't know where his mother was or where any of that is. And it's, it's the same. Yeah. He went there with his mother.
What I'm not hearing enough of, I mean, that's so I think it's it before we get into, the what we should do with Kyle Rittenhouse conversation. Just the trial itself has already gone bad.
Oh, yeah.
The background in this community is not one of, harmony and peace. This didn't shatter a quiet community. This was a community in which African Americans had been targeted for traffic stops and had been, there had been many, many, many incidences leading up to the Jacob Blake shooting. So it wasn't a, one-off, this happened here and then the community erupted. This community had been suffering, like many other communities, from systemic oppression and racial injustice. So, when this all blows up, we have that background, and then we go to trial, and you have a judge
Ugh.
who says you can't refer to the people who were shot dead and the one person who was injured very, very seriously as victims or even alleged victims, because in the judge's words, it's just as equally a loaded term. However, in almost the same breath, so it wasn't like he made this ruling and a few weeks later kind of forgot about it and made another one. In almost the same ruling, said that the defense can refer to those very same people as rioters and looters.
Yeah.
So, and this isn't, in speaking with some attorney friends of mine, I spoke with 2 attorney friends of mine about this, and they said that it's not uncommon for judges to not allow certain terms, and victim is sometimes one of them. This isn't a first time this ever happened in trial history. However, it does seem unbalanced to the people, and both people I talked to were defense attorneys, or one was an investigator, and so so we already have in this trial, leading up to not even the first witness, a feeling of a judge who is biased in the case, towards one side, and I think that particular decision, I mean, it concerns me. I mean, I think it is a bias. It sounds biased to me. I don't know how you
It
feel
does
about
sound
that.
biased. Yeah, I mean, for
Yeah.
me, I mean, I think it's problematic. I mean, I don't want anyone to get their hopes up for this trial. Get ready to be disappointed. Unfortunately, this judge, from what I understand, he is one of the, if not the longest serving judge in Wisconsin, and I think one of the jurors is only one is black. So I mean, I'm getting ready personally for a disappointment. I have absolutely zero faith in the justice system in this country, especially in a place like Washington. For me, this is an open and shut case. It's simple. This person, this Kyle Rittenhouse, had no business crossing state lines with a rifle, going to a place that he had no business. I mean, he went there fueled by a conspiracy theory, fueled by misinformation. With the same white savior complex we see over and over again, that he's this young white kid with a gun and he's going to protect the police or protect whoever, protect property from these roving gangs of blacks and Latinos and their enablers or whoever. And I mean, in his head, the kid thinks he's a hero. He's got Trump and the Trumpers coming out and supporting him. I hope this kid does time, and I hope he goes away for a long time. I have no sympathy for him. He killed 2 people. If he hadn't have been there, as he had no business there, these people wouldn't be dead. And it's a
I
shame that this judge is already showing bias. It's a
I
crime.
agree with about 85% of what you said. I don't now I'm not I'm not a family member of somebody who he shot, or a member of the community in which he shot somebody in, and I'm a white dude from New Jersey suburbs. So anything, my opinion gets to get taken with that grain of salt, and I certainly understand people feeling differently than I do. I'm also the father of 5 children. One of them's 23, and the other one's right about a year away from the age of Kyle Rittenhouse was. And raising children gives you a bit of perspective. They don't live in the real world yet. They're not adults. They haven't had jobs, and they haven't read the newspaper for 20 years, and they haven't been acclimated to an outside world other than what their immediate family, whoever is raising them, whether it be their parents or whatever, and their friends expose them to.
Yeah.
You don't have a world opinion yet at 17 years old, and if you do, it's wrong. It doesn't matter what it is, really. Because it's just uninformed. And you termed it in your opening. You said he's a kid. He's a kid, and not only has he not had a chance to understand what the world's about, children before the age of about 25 don't fully comprehend long-term consequences. It's why we do dumb shit when we're young. It's why we tend to drink a little more, or maybe drive recklessly, take bigger risks, and it's kind of a biological thing. Now, I don't, and as bad as, I mean, this is a case where there's no win. You said, well, prepare to be disappointed. I'm disappointed already because this happened.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be disappointed whether he's found innocent or guilty. It doesn't really matter, as far as whether I'm disappointed, because I'm disappointed that this happened. And the idea that this young man, who could have been a completely different human being had he been raised in an environment that didn't teach him these hate and these conspiracy theories, he may have had a completely different life. And I have a real hard time putting hate in my heart for a kid, for a 17-year-old whom, took 2 lives. But I'll tell you what, I have friends that have been in prison. I have friends that have, been in prison for serious violent crimes. They're still my friends. They're good people. They're, most of them are out of prison now, and I love them. They made a huge mistake when they were younger. I hope that's the case with Kyle Rittenhouse, whatever happens. But the problem now is that he's being praised as a hero.
Yeah, he's not going to
Whether he goes to jail as a martyr or comes out as a victor, he's going to have this horrible hate reinforced in his head.
Yeah. This is his life. This is his life now.
This court is not going to fix that no matter what it does. And I think that's my feelings. It's just this. So honestly, I don't think I'm disappointed. I'm not angry. It's a feeling of despair, because no matter what the outcome of this trial is, these people are dead, and this kid is going to. He never has a chance at being a decent, normal human being, because it's it for him. This is his whole life.
Yep.
And that's sad to me. It's very, very sad.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it's a failure. It's a failure of whoever the influences are in his life, whether it's parents, whether it's teachers, whether it's, whatever religious or political leaders he have. I mean, but this is what was always going to happen, right? In our era of misinformation, in our era of, online internet grifters, this kid fell victim to that. I mean, there is an entire industry set up targeting people like Kyle Rittenhouse, young white men who don't understand how the world works, and they fill their heads with nonsense. It's the same thing we see, and I'll keep saying it's the same thing we see in the Middle East with the Islamic State and Al-Qaeda. It's the same thing. It's misinformation, conspiracy theory, and they radicalize people. They scare young men into thinking that they are threatened, and they end up getting radicalized. And in this case, I guess he's not a radical; he's a reactionary. This is what it is. This is what Kyle Rittenhouse is. And if there's one Kyle Rittenhouse, there's millions more that just haven't grabbed the guns yet. I mean, I think we're going to see more and more of these types. And the way he's getting support and the way people are rallying around him, you're only going to see this type of behavior emboldened. And that's honestly how I see it.
I wonder where's the responsibility on other people? Why are his parents not on trial? Why is the militia that he brought him down there not on trial? Did he drive himself with that gum, or did he carpool? Does he have a driver's license?
I think his mom. He drove down with his mom. His mom took him.
So where the fuck is his mom in all this? Why is she not on trial?
Yeah,
and
especially honestly, if he was underage.
Those are the people that deserve the more severe consequences. I would honestly feel that justice may be served if this kid goes into psychiatric treatment and those grown-ups go to fucking jail. Because they're grown-ups. They're supposed to know better.
It says but his mother did not drive to Kenosha. That's not what I heard. If you look at the video footage from the night of the incident, you will see there were mass riots, people starting fires. So in other words, a protest, it was after curfew causing mass chaos, and then all this and they all should I guess he's saying should have been arrested. Yeah, but they weren't all arrested, and this kid had a gun and he killed people, dude. Like it's woulda, coulda, shoulda. This guy murdered people. Like there's one person that killed people that night, and it was Kyle Rittenhouse, and he killed 2 people and injured a third. So there were all those people there, and no one else got killed. I mean, it's I guess under capitalism, everyone's victimized, right? But he still needs to be held accountable, and all his enablers need to be held accountable. But, we're living in a society where a third of the country thinks he did the right thing. So he will be seen as a martyr, and he will be seen as a hero, and he's already raising money for his defense.
Yeah. Heidi, thanks for your comment, but you say it there. They all should have been arrested. Okay, I don't agree with you on that, but let's just put that into the spotlight and say, okay, they all should have been arrested, but 3 of them were shot and 2 of them are dead. That's not what you say should have happened. So, I mean...
And police were fist bumping him. There were people telling the police, look, this guy killed people, and they didn't do anything about it. So right off the bat, the police in Kenosha are suspect. They can't be trusted. Right? You can't trust them to for justice. So I mean, it's the entire situation is screwed, unfortunately. I mean, this kid Kyle Rittenhouse, he's a killer now, and he's going to be a killer for the rest of his life. Like you said,
it's a disaster, and I think the only justice we could see, which we're not seeing, is there's the others that influenced this kid, that bought him the gun, that gave him the transport, that told him that he could come to a town that wasn't his and protect property. What the fuck? Go protect your own property. I don't know why a white kid from another state is driving in to protect your property. That's not self-defense, but these stand there and some of the problem is there is I don't know that Wisconsin exactly has a stand your ground law. But
he's claiming self-defense.
Yeah, but he's claiming self-defense, and NPR has done some great, there's been a ton of really good reporting on stand your ground laws and what they mean, and it's not even just what they mean, but what they've been interpreted to mean and used as. And I think one of the worst cases, of course, is Trayvon Martin, being basically hunted by that lunatic. And, you have a situation where somebody with a gun causes a problem with somebody without a gun, then shoots them in self-defense. This is being used and codified across the country, and you may very well see that type of defense work in this case. And it's been speculated on in a number of broadcasts that's going to come about. But this is, what Chris, you're saying is about, this is what you get not only when you allow conspiracy theories to take root, but when you actually codify murder, when you actually codify, listen, if you cause a problem with somebody to the point of where they fight back, now you can shoot them. I mean, that's essentially what these laws say, and what they're being used as. You're gonna, and that's. I hate to read tea leaves here, but that seems likely given the history of this country.
Yeah, it's going to result in right wingers killing left wingers, and it's going to result in police siding with them, police looking the other way, Justice Department not fulfilling, not seeing justice through. I have absolutely no faith in like I said, in this case, I have no faith in our justice system, and I see this kid walking free. I hope he doesn't, but I feel like he will. I don't know.
What about time? Let me ask you. I mean, you'd like a guilty conviction. Jump at. Let's say you get it. I mean, how long should this kid spend in jail? Where he's,
I don't know.
Honestly, like every day he spends in jail, he's a martyr. He's meeting other white supremacists. Be great for him to hook up with the Aryan Nation while he's behind bars and make some serious criminal contacts. Imagine the kind of person that comes.
I honestly think he's less dangerous behind bars. I think that. I mean, he was a young person. I would like to see the people around him held accountable. Also, his mother and whatever low lives he was associating with. I think they need to be held accountable too. Like I'm agreeing with you on that. I don't know. He killed 2 people, and he had no business being there. So I mean, 20 years, 30 years. I don't know if he needs to go away for the rest of his life, but he needs to do some serious time. I mean, again, he's not 14. He was 17. He wasn't 8. He was 17. And there he is. The man, the myth, the legend, the leader himself. How we doing, Daryl?
Yeah, I have to laugh because when you're sitting there talking about Rittenhouse and Brian throws his hands up in the air like, yay! It's like, wait a minute, Brian, do you know what
I was happy that the host of our show has arrived. I was not happy about what's going on, but yeah, man, Daryl Lamont Jenkins have finally joined us, and we'll get maybe some election results in there. Tom, your girl didn't win. I'll just tell you that.
What's that? What happened?
No, Tom
here, I'll show it on the screen. There you
go. Well, I could tell you that right now what I've seen. I can right now. I can tell you that what I've heard so far is that we're going to be busy in Virginia for the next 4 years.
Uh,
Yeah.
did
Yeah,
they call it? Well, let's go. I mean, did they call it for
I
New
think we're
Jersey?
gonna. They haven't called it for Jersey yet. I know they said it was too close to call, but it doesn't look good for Terry McAuliffe. So we're gonna have some fun in Virginia. Um, Now New York City, I don't know yet. I mean, a lot of the stuff I'm just actually just getting off of out of the polls myself. Um, so we're going to it's basically waiting. It's kind of like a wait and see kind of thing. I want to see what Twitter's talking about and see what they're saying. I see cheating is trending in political in on Twitter.
In Virginia?
No, just cheating. Just cheating.
Oh, just the word cheating.
Yeah. So it can mean anything. It could just mean the usual we lost, so the other side cheated routine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. CNN projection. Democrat and retired NYPD captain will be the next mayor of New York City.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that was going to happen. That guy, Curtis Lee, was a creep, honestly. I mean, the guy's been creeping around since the 70s. It's like, if you want to be a cop, be a cop instead of putting on that dopey beret and running around like you're somebody. The guy's just a creep, and he's on the record saying all kinds of creepy stuff. But I kind of always figured Adams was going to win. He's really good at selling himself as some kind of identity politician, as some kind of spokesman for people of color in New York, when he's actually a landlord himself, and he's beholden to the landlords, and that's where he's received a lot of his money. He's exactly what the Democratic Party is looking for in 2021. He's a person of color that can sell mainstream, middle of the road, moderate politics, with a cover or a veneer of supposedly pushing identity politics. But he's a cop.
And it's crazy too, because I remember back in the day how I knew Eric Adams. There were I knew him as a cop who was fighting against police brutality. I mean, this was probably like around the Amadou Diallo times. As a matter of fact, I remember I was videotaping rallies at that time, and I think I might have a few speeches of him at those podiums and things. And he was right up there with him. He was like the New York parallel to a guy named DeLacy Davis, who in Jersey was the like president of a group called Black Cops Against Police Brutality. And Eric Adams was kind of like the parallel to DeLacy Davis. And it was I really hadn't been following him all that much as the years went along. I didn't realize just how basically right wing he has become. I mean, but then again, if there's one thing, I mean, you gotta expect from Democrats in New York who are successful is that they're going to be right wing. I mean, it's just something that just keeps happening.
Yeah.
And now they realize that they have to do it with Black people.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work the way they did with Ed Koch anymore. So, so yeah, this wasn't surprising, and it was frustrating when he won the primary in May. I mean, it was basically it meant it was going to be a cop versus a vigilante. We're going to hear about a few people getting killed over the next 4 years by police. We are going to hear it, and it's going to be right on Eric Adams' lap when it happens. We're going to hear it. So we got work to do in Virginia, and we got work to do in New York City, thanks to both freaking parties. Well, we don't know what happened in Virginia yet. It's not official yet. So we'll see what's up.
I know they got over 1 million votes in already. I think they had the early voting, but I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, this guy Youngkin, he's basically just another Trump clone, and I don't know. I find it breathtaking that the Democratic Party just can't beat these Trumpers. They're not hard to beat, but they don't have these platforms. They're not bringing anything to the table. They're not showing that they're necessarily willing to fight for people. So these easily winnable elections, they end up losing them. And I've said this. I said this when Margaret Kimberly, we had her on the show a couple of weeks ago. The Democrats are the only party that are ever caught off guard by winning elections. Like they're the only party that doesn't know how to govern, and it's infuriating because the myth that gets peddled is that the Republicans are evil, they're all these things, and the Democrats are the heroes out to get them. It's like, no, the Democrats' agenda is not to fight the Republicans. The Democrats' agenda is to further middle of the road corporate politics. They're not enemies. They're just different political parties. And the narrative is that, that they're one and the other and they're fighting. No, they have two agendas and they're very similar pro-corporate agendas. And that's American politics in 2021.
I think there's very little substance to the Democrats. And I think what you see in a lot, and I see this a lot in Phil Murphy, and Phil Murphy is thought of as like the most progressive guy in the face of the earth by political pundits on CNN and Fox News or whatever. But the $15 minimum wage that guy passed isn't going to take effect till 2024. He has been listening to immigrants beg him for more than the measly $40 million in assistance that our state gave, literally millions of people, or at least hundreds of thousands. And he's done nothing about it. And he gives it. And all he says in the debate when they ask him about it is, oh, well, I wish I could give more, but, the legislature has to pass something. Your fucking party runs it. You're the head of the party.
Yeah.
Why don't you get in the state house and make something happen? You sit on your ass, you do nothing, and then say, well, they got to pass a bill for me to sign it. And I will.
He's an outsider and they treat him like one.
What I'm saying here is the Democrats are about image. They're thought of as being for the immigrant community. Joe Biden's administration still has kids in cages. Yeah. They're thought of as for the working class, but the minimum wage has been crushed by Democrats in every state and at the federal level. Yeah. We, as a country, are completely delusional about what the Democratic Party is about. We think they're progressive. They are not even close. They are a right-wing party. We don't have a left-wing party in this country. We do
not. We do not. I mean, are the two of you following what's happening in Buffalo with the Buffalo mayor race?
Oh, yeah. Let's check and see how that's happening. Let's see what's going on with that right now.
Yeah, I don't know how that's working. But again, for those of us that don't know what's going on, a socialist candidate won the primary. Her name is India Walton. And what she did was she beat out the incumbent Democratic mayor of Buffalo during the primary. Now, what do we hear whenever a moderate corporate Democrat beats a member of the left wing? What's the first thing they hear? Sit down. What's the first thing we hear? Sit down, shut up, stop being divisive. You need to fall in line. We don't want the Republicans to win. So what happens? India Walton wins the primary. Does the Democratic incumbent sit down and go away? No. Does he decide to help India Walton? No. He decides now to run as a write-in candidate. If anything, he's going to spoil the Democrat / liberal / left-wing vote, whatever the heck you want to call it, and he can almost enable the Republican victory. So, we'll see what happens in Buffalo.
No, that's not what's happening right now. Here's the thing. I mean, it mirrors what happened when Joe Lieberman lost the primary in the Senate.
Yeah, he ran anyway.
Lamont, and he ran, and he ended up winning as a third-party candidate. That is happening again.
You think that's going to happen?
Walton, I'm looking at this on Twitter. He has a write-in campaign to win the general today, and an Emerson poll showed him ahead by 17 points.
Oh, there
Republicans didn't even nominate a candidate.
Oh, well, he's the Republican candidate.
Right.
Yeah. So let me find out what's going on. Let's find out what's going on right now. Byron Brown. And let me see what they say. Nothing is really being said about Buffalo just yet. Scheisse. He won.
He did?
He just won.
Like we said, I mean, this is the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
The Democratic Party is not the party that raises the minimum wage and gives immigrants rights. The Democratic Party is the party that sees a socialist or a progressive and fucking destroys them. And if she had one, they would have done everything they could to make her administration a failure on purpose. They would have made
Absolutely.
that community suffer immensely. They would have ripped away bills. They would have taken away funding. They would have destroyed that community and cost them lives that she had won because they're that fucking vicious.
Yeah.
Scum.
I was on David B's program. He interviewed me yesterday. And you can probably hear it at some point. And I told them that, and then this has been my standard line for the longest. The Democrats put more time, money, and effort going after Nina Turner than they did Marjorie Taylor Greene or
Yeah.
Matt Gaetz and stuff like that, and it's playing itself out again in Buffalo, and that's disturbing. I mean, and I basically said, look, either we're going to change our political structure so that this shit doesn't happen anymore, or we're going to have to start building new institutions. We're going to have to build institutions outside, and I always said this, outside of the political process that doesn't give two shits about what it is we need. We care. We know what we need, and we know what needs to be done. Brown is dirty. Byron Brown is dirty. It was under him that his cops um beat an old man, smashed an old man to the ground while they were protesting last year. I mean, it was his cops that did that. And it was behind that he lost the primary. And yet here he is winning.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something you got to bear in mind. We got a fight on our hands. And it's a three-way fight. We got to fight the fash on the right, and we got to fight the fash on the left. And
Yeah.
and by fash, I mean straight up mainstream Democrats who think that they are entitled to this political process, to this political structure, when the shit should be ours.
Yeah.
And we keep telling them, no, it's not. But they're going to fight us. They're going to fight us hard, just as hard as any conservative out there, as any Republican out there, because in the end, they are the same people. And we got to start recognizing that if we're going to get ahead. Either that or start strapping up, because that's the next step. And I think they're even pushing for that, not realizing what that's going to mean. I mean, I'm not. I mean, it's kind of like with me, and it's like Gordon Gekko in Wall Street. How you don't get too emotional about stocks. I don't get too emotional about politics all that much. I know this is the way the shit's going to go. It's going to be interesting to see what happens this time next year. But the truth of the matter is, we really can't keep anticipating losses like this. Keep hanging our hopes on what will happen in the next election when we know we don't have to.
Yeah.
We can do the shit ourselves. It wasn't a Democrat that created Black Lives Matter. It was those people in the streets.
Yeah.
That's true.
And we're the ones that got results.
Yeah.
So that's my feeling. People got to start having an attitude that they got to start working things beyond the Democrats and beyond the Republicans. Otherwise, you're never going to get things done. You're never going to get things done. They don't want to get things done.
This guy. Oh, we were talking, Jimmy. We were actually talking. Jimmy Brash on the chat. Great supporter of Revolution Radio. Solidarity, brother. Thanks for hopping on. It says, Joe Manchin isn't an anomaly. He's been the normal for a while with the Dems, and the Dems are, quote, corporate liberalism. We were talking in the pre-show a little bit about Joe Manchin and his insane level of narcissism. And I mean, I'll say he's a notch above, the Dem. I was just bashing the Democratic Party, but this guy's a special kind of lunatic.
Yeah.
And if you saw his press conference, and I don't know if either of you guys had a chance to see it, he basically gaslit the whole country and told everybody that Congress is standing in the way of progress and the Senate's at fault and Joe Biden's and everybody's the problem except for Joe Manchin, who really wants to get things done. It's so far departed from reality.
But this is what they do. But this is what they do.
A senator.
Yeah. I mean, so he's concerned about taxation for billionaires in a state with no billionaires. You're in West Virginia. There's millions of people in the state of West Virginia that can benefit from some of these policies, and he's there stopping it. When Barack Obama wanted to push, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, the Democratic Party made it happen. The institution of the Democratic Party made it happen. If the Democratic Party wanted to push Biden's policies, they could pressure Manchin and Sinema into doing it. But ultimately, it's my opinion that they don't necessarily want these policies. And as long as Manchin's there saying he's not going to vote for it, they get to put their hands up and say that they tried. Right? They can let Manchin take the heat. They can let Manchin take the blame, and they could say, "Oh well, I tried." But I was telling my students today. I mean, the Chinese are they're playing a long game. They have their Belt and Road Initiative, where they're trying to create ties with other parts of Asia, parts of Africa, and literal inroads into Europe. And we've got Joe Biden, who can't get these are things that people need. These are things that people want, and they can't get it passed.
Maybe somebody should wake Joe up.
Yeah, I mean, I had seen it look like he had fallen asleep at this COP20 at this conference in Europe. Did anybody else see that? Can we confirm that? Did he look like he was dozing off?
I don't know if y'all have ever been in a meeting where somebody's dozing off, but it's embarrassing for everybody in the meeting.
Yeah, I've done.
I don't know really what level is that when it's the president of the United States, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to throw this in. One of the people that was really going after India Walton in Buffalo was Jimmy Dore.
Oh yeah, Jimmy Dore has really.
I didn't realize Jimmy Dore was going all in on her until just now.
He's the new Tim Pool. Russell Brand. There's new money in attacking the left from the so-called left, but Brian had made some comments in a group chat earlier. He's starting to bring on anti-vaxxers now, I believe. Jimmy Dore.
Yeah. Oh, I get an alert. I still get YouTube alerts on him, even though I stopped paying for it. He's full. Everything's anti-vax now. He's everything about the vaccines, forced vaccines. Him and Russell Brand have both jumped the shark like in such spectacular fashion. It's unbelievable. And Daryl, credit to you and Rob Weber and people that brought up these problems with Jimmy months ago. But he's really gone off the fucking deep end, man. He went from comedian to kind of okay political pundit to wait a second, something's gone wrong to
it's a grift. It's a grift. It's in their heads, they really think that they are speaking to some enlightened third way, when in reality, all they're doing is strengthening the far right. There's no one on the left that's listening to like Tim Pool or Russell Brand or Jimmy Dore. These are people that are starting to lean right wing, who don't understand how politics works. I mean,
Russell Brand's going to break my freaking heart. I'm just realizing that about him. And I really do like Russell Brand. It's going to piss me off if he starts going too far with that shit.
He used to have all kinds of cool stuff to say. You used to look at him and he used to be like, he's one of those celebrities that kind of got it. But again, I mean, they're chasing the money, that social media, that YouTube money, which is, the right-wing pundit verse. And I do not like, and there's a lot of people that do it on the left. I don't like finger waving the left. I don't like tone policing the left, because anytime you do that, all you do is embolden and enable the right. Right? If someone on the left does something I don't like, I try not to make a big stink out of it, because all they're going to do is it's just going to be used by the right wing. I mean, we see that with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle really thinks he's standing up for something, but he's really just being used by the far right. I mean, I don't want to get in there about Dave Chappelle, but it's like, you're not the victim, dude. You're a multimillionaire. You are a celebrity. You're not the victim here. And it was like, I remember when Jerry Seinfeld said he wasn't going to play college campuses, and it's like, no college students know who you are, Jerry. Sit down. You're a millionaire. Like you're not the victim here, guy.
I think Dave Chappelle is a genius marketer. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he was like 15 years ago, he was the greatest comedian I had ever seen, but like he hasn't done anything new in 15 years. His newest stand-ups, I mean, they've been okay, but they're not really as hard hitting. And when you're making fun of trans people, you're really just punching down. Like that's not interesting to me. It's not funny to me. I mean, he looks weird. He sounds weird. He just sounds like he's out of it. Like, this isn't the Dave Chappelle of the Chappelle Show. This isn't the Dave Chappelle of Half Baked or Killing Them Softly. This is just like an odd old rich guy. I don't know. And I heard
exactly
Jimmy
what he
Dore bought
is.
a $2 million house that he needs to pay for. So he's going to go all in on that right-wing grift to pay for that $2 million house.
I don't know. I don't know that he's gone all in on right wing. I mean, he said he's a comedian. I mean, they say controversial things. I mean, they say, that's like, comedy has always been a place where you can almost say anything. I know stuff does cross the line, and there's things that, make me uncomfortable, so I'm not taking away. If people get offended, that's fine. But you're supposed to get a comedy offend sometimes.
But like, my problem with comedies, it still has to be funny, right?
Well,
like,
you could
there's
say
a lot of
he's
people
not
out there
funny.
claiming
You
to be
can be
comedians
not
that are
funny,
just talking.
But is he really being offensive, or is he just not being funny? That, I guess, is two different things.
He could be both.
You think one of the more popular comedians that I had growing up was Andrew Dice Clay. That guy's is nothing but trash, garbage.
Yeah.
Him and
He wasn't
Sanchez
funny,
at the same
and he was
time.
racist. To me, he was racist and over the line at that time. I didn't like him, but I don't think Dave Chappelle even comes fucking close to that.
No, he doesn't. But granted, I always thought Andrew Dice Clay was corny anyway. I'm like, he's just some loud New Yorker. It's like, dude, like, I'm from New Jersey. That shit don't. That doesn't.
Everybody
in
that area screams racist stuff. It wasn't special.
Yeah, he just comes across like some loudmouth from the city, and it's like I've seen a million of those guys.
I never found him funny.
Yeah.
Well, right now I should say that Jersey Citarelli is in the lead, but that's with 28% or 32% of the vote in, but it's like real narrow.
Can you see what counties have reported? Like, have they done Newark yet, or Camden, or Jersey
North
City,
is pretty
Bayonne?
Blue. Camden doesn't look like it's been done yet. So,
yeah, Monmouth University, Emerson. There were a couple different polls, and they all had Phil Murphy. I want to say Patrick Murphy. Phil Murphy ahead, anywhere from like 9 to 11 points. They were saying double digits.
Yeah, this is we haven't seen anything yet. I don't think it's anywhere. I don't think it's done yet. We have to just keep an eye on it and see what's going on.
Yeah. You got any stories about the Guardian Angels, Daryl? I know you used to work in the city. You used to spend a lot of time in the city. Some people tend to see them as heroes. I see them as a bunch of just like knuckleheads running around, causing as many problems as they're supposed to fix. But did you ever have any run-ins with them, or anybody? You never know anybody that ever had run-ins with them?
I have friends with Guardian Angels. I have friends that were Guardian Angels, folks that were part of my crew. And the thing about it is that it wasn't so much. Here's the weird thing about the fucking Guardian Angels. It's like the Guardian Angels, when they were in the street, weren't trying to go out there to be assholes. They knew how to de-escalate things better than cops. Bear in mind this: when the Guardian Angels that were out there were people that you knew from the community. It isn't like how cops are in New York City. It isn't like, and the Guardian Angels I knew were in Perth Amboy and in and around there, and it was cool, it was chill, but it comes with the stink of Curtis Sliwa.
Yeah.
It comes who really doesn't give a shit about these communities, and nowhere near as much as the Guardian Angels that I knew at the time. They cared about their communities. I'm talking about those individuals out there. I'm not talking about them wanting to go in there and kick everybody's ass. They weren't doing that.
Yeah.
But Sliwa isn't from those communities. Sliwa isn't from the streets, as he likes to try to put it. Sliwa is from that part of New York that thinks that white is right, even when it's in New York and you have black people push and black and Hispanics and everybody pushing up against you. Sliwa wanted to be one of those like the good old boy types of that you see in New York City all the time, and they think they tend to be a little too familiar with people of color. And when I say too familiar, they mean they think they can get away with just about anything. That's who Sliwa is. And this stupid game that he was playing the entire election, I was like, the thing that really bothered the fuck out of me is really thinking that, yeah, he could win with this because I've seen it before.
Yeah.
And happily he didn't. I mean, unfortunately, we aren't doing much better with Eric Adams, but I'm gonna tell you this right now. This election year is showing us that we got mad work to do. This is the 10th anniversary of Occupy.
Yep.
Next year will be the 5th anniversary of Eric Gardner being murdered.
Oh boy.
You know, and his mom was actually at my church on Sunday.
Was she speaking?
I don't know if she was speaking. I know that she was a visitor at my church up in Perth Amboy. So it's kind of like it hit.
Yeah.
It hit. I mean, you think about what we had. I mean, ever since Trayvon, it was pretty much everything that was going on, everything that's been going on in regards to law enforcement. I mean, Trayvon died. It's going to be 10 years on February 26th since Trayvon was murdered.
Yep.
And if that wasn't bad enough, let's not forget we had Trayvon come up in 2012. Let's take a look. Freddie Gray was 2015. So that adds April 19th, 2015. And then let's not forget Mike Brown out of Ferguson. All of these things were just like coming to, and then Eric Gardner. Those 4 cases really set us off. And yes, no, I'm not forgetting Sandra Bland. I think Sandra Bland came after all. Sandra Bland didn't come after all those cases, but she was another one. But everybody's just confused at what the hell happened to Sandra Bland. And you run down all of these cases, however, and we just said we don't know why it keeps happening. Well, we know why it keeps happening, but we have to do something to stop it. And the people that are in the way really just got elected this year. So we got some work to do. We got a lot of work to do. And what am I doing next weekend? Going to a Nazi conference.
Ah. So are we done talking about elections now? Can we get on to talking about what the fascists are up to?
Well, we got 4 minutes.
What's this conference, Daryl? Tell us about this conference.
Well, we've been talking about it for a while now.
The American Renaissance Conference.
Yes, the American Renaissance Conference will be happening on November 11th through the 14th. No, yeah, 11th through the 11th through the 13th, down in Montgomery Bell State Park in Burns, Tennessee, which is just 45 minutes outside of Nashville. I don't know if we have the commercial that I've created for that bouncing around at all, but it's going to feature people that are speaking are going to be folks who were at January 6th. We have Nazis coming here from Europe. Actually, it sounds like they're going to be speaking via satellite now.
That's good.
So
better than them coming here.
Better than them coming here, but they're still going to be addressing. I think we really got to start putting our pedal to the metal. I mean, Terry McAuliffe wouldn't. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate Terry McAuliffe didn't win, sure, but you can say that. But Terry McAuliffe was governor during Charlottesville, and he didn't do shit that day.
Yeah.
So we're gonna it's gonna be a interesting year, and then it's gonna be an interesting 2 years leading up to 2024 because everybody is anticipating. Or should I say planning for the Democrats to lose?
Oh, they're going to lose, dude.
Next year. And I mean, when I say planning, I think it's planning on the parts of Democrats. There's some good news out of Cleveland.
Okay.
Civilian Review Board ballot initiative looks like it's going to pass in Cleveland, and the mayoral candidate who's in favor of it is looking to win.
Well, that's good.
So we got that in Cleveland.
I know our friend CJ and some other people are going to be headed to Tennessee to support, what's going on in the counter demonstrations. How do people get in touch with you and IDAVOX and One People's Project and other anti-fascist organizations? Other anti-fascist organizations so that they can participate in the counter demonstrations.
You definitely hit me up at onepeoplesproject.com. You can hit me directly via email, dlj@onepeoplesproject.com, and I can give you information about that. Just bottom line is just be there, or if you cannot be there, really start making some noise about the conference, because bottom line is it really should have been shut down. And if we're having this much of a problem shutting it down, then we're really going to have to start spending the next year just making all the noise in the world about it. We're not on the outside looking in just because this election year looks stupid right now. They're really on the outside looking in. We're the ones that are making the noise. We're the ones that are getting the results, and we're not doing it in the halls of government. What I mean by that is that you all out there watching this and listening to this have the power within yourselves to make shit happen without anybody telling you that you have to make shit happen. So do that. And if you need help, feel free to give us a ring. Squeaky wheel can steal oil. That's all I can say on that. It's 10 o'clock, y'all, and I'm tired. So if y'all don't mind, I want to get out of this car, out of this parking lot, and into a nice warm bed.
There we go.
Oh, the show. This was fun though, man. It turned out not to be so bad. I had internet connection issues. You worked out, but this is a good show, man. I had some fun.
I don't even want to discuss the silliness that I had to deal with as a poll worker today. Starts off with the voting machine not working. So we had to get a replacement voting machine, and they computerized. You know how whenever you go to your when you go to your district to vote, and they open up this big ass book that you have to sign, and then you go. Well, it's all online now.
Yeah, that's how it was today in my polling station. It was all computers now.
Well, they overwhelmed the system.
Not in my little
CNN
town.
is calling it for Adams.
Oh yeah, we already know.
In Maine.
That was the first thing I said. First thing I said. Yes.
Yeah.
They gave me a folded piece of printer paper with a ballot that I marked with a pen and a little check mark and dropped in a wooden box.
So
that's how I voted today.
Welcome to Maine.
I love it. That's probably, and I relied. And they got you changing voting machines out. Did Bill Gates and the aliens deliver the voting machine? How'd they get there so fast?
I'm not doing that.
All right, you want to go to sleep? We're getting silly. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks a lot, Daryl, man. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this was a great show. Even though I was only in it for just like a half hour, but we'll be back in form next week, and we'll be talking about God knows what. So until then, peace.